Hey guys, in this project I'm going to be showing you how you can build a mechanical 7-segment display clock which is driven by 28 servos and controlled by an Arduino. Time is kept using a DS1302 real-time clock module, and each servo is independently controlled using two 16-channel servo drivers to expand the Arduino's PWM I/O over the I2C interface. I started off by designing an individual 7-segment display numeral, which could be actuated using a microservo for each segment. The microservos move each segment vertically when on and 90 degrees to the side when off. The segments are designed to glue straight onto the standard servo arm so that no additional hardware is required. I 3D printed the segments using a translucent green PLA with a 15% infill. To control the servos, I used two PCA 9685 16-channel PWM drivers, which allow you to control up to 16 servos on each board and chain up to 62 boards together over an I2C interface. This means that you could theoretically independently control up to 992 servos with just two I/O pins. I'm going to be using one for the 2-hour digits and one for the 2-minute digits on my clock. To chain the two together, I need to first add a pin header to the other side of the first board, and then change the address on the second board so that it's uniquely identified. This is done by bridging these small terminals on the top right of the board. They work like dip switches, allowing you to set a different address for each board. Now that we've added the header strip and changed the address on the second board, let's make up a cable to chain the two together. We'll also need another cable to connect these two boards to the Arduino along with the clock module. Now let's get back to the display segments. I sprayed the back and sides of the segments black to match the background, so that they're less visible when they're turned away. If you leave them green, then you're still going to land up with a thin visible line when the segments are turned 90 degrees. I then glued the segments onto the servo arms and added a small 3D printed spacer block to the bottom of each servo to glue onto the backboard. I numbered each segment to keep track of them in the code. I started with the top segment in the units digit being 1, and then worked around to the tens digit for all 14 segments. They're all connected to each driver board in this order as well, although the driver board numbering starts from 0. I duplicated this numbering for each of the hour and minute boards. Before gluing the digits onto the backboard, I laid them out on a flat surface to test them. This allowed them to move without the fear of them moving the wrong direction or too far and bumping into each other, which may damage the segments or strip the gears on the servos. Once I was happy with the movements of the digits, I got to work on the board. I needed a backboard which was at least 600mm long and 240mm high. The light grey larger boxes are the areas in which the segments move when they move out of the way. These needed to be 210mm by 135mm, so that the adjacent segments don't touch when they're both moved outwards. The inner darker rectangles are the center lines for the 6 servos which make up the outside of each digit. Lastly, I left 30mm between the inner digits for the dots. I then measured and cut the backboard from a piece of 3mm MDF, which I'd sprayed black as well. I marked the segment positions on the backboard and then started gluing them in place. Now that the digits are done, we just need to hide the wiring. I drilled holes through the back of the board near each servo to feed the servo wires through. I put a small drop of glue onto each of them to keep them in place. I stuck the boards onto the back of the clock using double-sided tape. I removed the arms from the servos before loading the final version of the software, so that I could make small adjustments to the upright positions without worrying about them hitting each other. I then finished up the code. You can download the code through the link in the video description. We start by importing two libraries, one for the clock module and one for the servo drivers. We then create an object for each of the servo drivers, one for the 2 hour digits and one for the 2 minute digits. We then have 4 arrays to store the on and off positions for each servo. This allows you to fine-tune the travel limits so that the digits are all straight up and don't over or under travel when they move to the off position. We also have an array to store the segment positions for each digit from 0 to 9. We then assign the clock pins and create variables for each digit, hour tens and units and minute tens and units. We also need to know what the previously displayed digit was, so that we know whether the middle segment is going to be moving, and if so, we need to move the 2 adjacent segments out of the way a little so that it can pass by without hitting them. The variable mid-offset defines by how much these adjacent segments should move out of the way. We then start with the setup function. Here we start each of the PWM servo boards, set the oscillator frequency and our servo frequency. We then have a line to update the clock time, which is only needed once to set the time on your clock and can then be removed or commented out. Finally, we run through a loop which sets each servo to its on position, so that 8888 is displayed on the clock. This ensures that we have a known starting position for each servo, and where possible you should try and start the clock with your segments as close to these positions as possible. We then move on to the main loop, where we get the updated time from the real-time clock module, then split the hour and minutes into their tens and units. We then check to see if the time has changed since the last cycle, and only if the time has changed do we need to update the display. Once the display is updated, we then update the previously displayed variables to record the changes. We then have a short delay, so that the time is only checked twice every second. Now let's have a look at the update display function. We start by updating the middle segments. We do this so that we're able to move the adjacent segments out of the way if the middle segments need to move. We then move all of the middle segments, and then move the remaining segments so that they move back into place if the previous step moved them out of the way. There is an if statement for each digit, which essentially looks up the required segment positions from the array, and then moves them on or off accordingly. The delays just aid with the stability in the code. The update mid function is probably the most complex portion of the code, although there's a lot of repetition here for each of the 4 digits. This function looks at whether the middle segment of each digit needs to move. If it does, it then looks at whether either of the adjacent digits are going to be in the way if the section moves. It then moves it out of the way before moving the middle segment. The delays in this section are to allow the adjacent segments to move out of the way before moving the middle segment. That's the code. Now let's upload it to the Arduino and see what it looks like. The segments jitter slightly when they're initialized and then move to display the current time. It takes a bit of patience in the beginning to get each segment's travel limit set up correctly, so that the segment is upright when on and moved far enough when off, so that the top is no longer visible. Most of my segments required adjustment, and there were quite a few cases of servo arms popping off and servos over-traveling before the setup process was complete. But once you're done, you're left with a great looking clock with a unique twist on a 7-segment display. Thanks for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel for more tech and electronics projects, tutorials and reviews.